How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? This is Red Zone News. Check it out, man. Something real strange going on over here in the White House. That's right, the White House losing his mind again. I mean, I don't know how the hell. I mean, all due respect, how you attacking people who is way in the Middle East and let domestic terrorism reign free. I mean, personally, that's not really much of a strategy. I mean, if you trying to get rid of terrorism, chances are you go against the terrorist that is closer to home. Who is causing the most damage in the United States of America? But Trump seems it plausible to go after Islamic terrorists that comes in this country that barely does anything in this country. Most of the terrorism that is in this country is done by right wingers and hate groups like the KKK and the neo Nazis. Okay, and as simple as that. The problem is that this man obviously don't play no damn chess whatsoever. Okay, you protect the home first. Okay, and since the Islamic people are not mostly attacking us, they're attacking things that's happening in the Middle East, and it's very hard for them to come here to cause drama. Forget your movies, forget your entertainment. Most of the terrorism that happens in this country are domestic. Domestic. Okay? And it's caused by right wingers, KKK, neo Nazis, and so forth and so on. And that is a legitimate fact. Attacks on churches, attacks on government buildings. Okay, attacks. If you want to make America great again, the first thing you do is protect yourself from attacks. I mean, what you gonna do if terrorists terrorize black churches all day long? What you gonna do when terrorists start bombing all your government facilities? It's kind of hard to do that when you're a military and your investigators are overseas, keeping an eye on Al Qaeda and place people like that overseas. That's like putting your whole military overseas to protect America and don't have no military to protect the borders of America. The whole military. Nobody's guarding America. That's what's happening, and it's a stupid move. It's a dumb move by Trump. And personally, I really start giving the edge and benefit of doubt to Trump until he pulled this move. This don't make no damn sense. He's pulling all finances from surveilling Ku Klux Klan neo Nazis to focus on Islam and their terrorists overseas who's bombing everything over there and not bombing anything over here. Okay, let's get to the story. Trump just removed white supremacist group from Terrorist Watch. Okay, and most shocking move since becoming the president 2 weeks ago, Donald Trump regime is making changes to American domestic terrorism programs. He's officially legitimized religious profiling of Muslims and is removing dangerous white supremacist extremist groups from the watch list, although they are responsible for most of the domestic terrorism that occurs in America. Like I said, the program Countering Violence, Extreme, or CVE will change to countering Islamic extremists or countering radical Islamic extremists, the sources said and will no longer target groups such as white supremacists or who have also carried out bombings and shootings in the United States. You have all freaking armies all over the United States, all over the United States with the KKK and neo-Nazis bombing government buildings, and this man just took them off the watch list. Fucking ridiculous, in my opinion. Authorities have blamed radical violence and ideologies as a reason a white supremacist shot 9 black people inside a historic African American church in Charleston, in South Carolina, in Islamics militants for shooting bombings in California and Florida and New York. A report tweeted that getting rid of the tracking of America's homegrown extremists such as the KKK and the Patriot groups and the Neo groups will hamper all the CVE program does to attract known hate groups and criminal enterprises. The Republican Party has made it a point to instill Islamabad into public policies, and now terrorism will only be referred to as a radical Islam. Now, if you're going through biblical terms, Trump might make sense because radical Islam and Islam in general is the ones that actually in the future attacks America if you go biblically. But right now we have extreme problems with internal terrorism. Okay, biblically, this is in the future. Is Obama in his presidency, along with Hillary Clinton, decide to ship and fly these people inside the United States of America? Now they reside here. They even have cities, counties called Islamic City or something like that. But they are in here. They're shipping them from destroyed countries by the boatloads, tens of thousands of Islamic people in this country. And in my opinion, and you can't scan all these people. And they just shipped them in here, made them their lives, and so forth and so on. And in the future, biblically, these people are going to start attacking America. So you might have a point there. Okay, this is a policy or strategy by Trump administration to get false justification for the Muslims bans, which affects 1 out of every 8 Muslims worldwide from several countries. The removal of white supremacy and violence in extreme groups from federal tracking program appears to be a direct move by Trump's advisor Steve Bannon to foster racial hatred and religious discrimination. Trump administration has already removed the CVE's 5-point counterterrorism strategy page from the State Department. Reuters' new agency has said that Trump's attempt to brand terror as something solely carried out by Islamic groups, in particular extremist, unproductive. The news agency note: Hunda Wawa, director of policy for Muslim Public and Affairs Council, said she was told last week by people within DHS that there was a push for refocus the CVE efforts from the tackling all violent ideologies to only Islamic extremists. That is concern for us to become. They are targeting a faith group and casting it under a net of suspicion, she said. Now, like I said, if Trump is reading the Bible, his strategy is very plausible, but we need protection from the KKK and the neo-Nazis and so forth and so on. I don't understand why we don't have enough money. Like he said, we got too much money to even count. We got so much money in his interview not too long ago I saw on YouTube. Why don't he use that money to also track neo-Nazis and KKK? While some Republicans in Congress have pressed the use of term of racial Islamic as a strategy to help focus deterrence efforts, others have said it is a terrible way to orchestrate over 3 million people in America that practice Islam in peace and manner. Now, personally, as he changes these laws to, I mean, these funds to focus on Islamic Bank, they also have black Islamic people, African American Islamic people, the Nation of Islam, places like that. And the meaning of this terrorist watch can expand in itself in its own meaning. Okay, being Islam, being in America, it could be a freaking problem. Okay, and they could be attacked for any hate group or any hate speech or anything like that. You have federal agents all up in the Nation of Islam. You have federal agents all up in Five Percenters. You have federal agents all up in all these organizations trying to tear them down. Okay, for any reason, anything could be deterred as a threat. Those who oppose Trump's proposal of only singling out Muslims as possible terrorists feel his program will make it that much more difficult for Muslims to trust his administration, especially considering the fact that he just signed an executive order banning Muslims from several predominant Muslim nations from entering America only 1 week after being in office. For several years now, American law enforcement agents have said that the greatest risk of domestic terrorism comes from the white supremacists or terrorists like the KKK, neo-Nazis, and those who share their viewpoint, which is true at this current time. Okay, which is in stark contrast to the group like Al Qaeda, who are more focused on exploiting the struggles for control of the Middle East. It makes obvious sense that America needs to be vigilant against ISIS inspired attacks, but the government also has to pay attention to the white supremacists and the hate groups as well. All these hate groups, all these Al Qaedas, all these Muslim hate groups, and so forth and so on. All these KKK and neo Nazis are just focusing on taking over the freaking world. There's their own focus, which is not realistic in my opinion. But they pitch it, so that's why they get more new members as especially the Muslims when they get attacked by Europeans overseas, they join in and hate Israel and start hating Israel, hating America because America supports Israel, and America gives Israel most of their damn weapons. Okay, and that's why most of like ISIS people like that try to come over here and try to start trouble. And you got other people in neo Nazis and so forth and right wing groups hating the government because they are helping certain people over there, or they're helping African Americans, or helping people of minority groups. All right, it's a sad freaking thing that hate inspires people. Which I will understand that if you was bombed and your family was bombed and killed, you want some freaking revenge. But it's obviously these people ain't reading the Quran or the Bible or so forth and so on. In the case of the neo Nazis and the KKK, if that still is a religious organization. Okay, it seems like these Muslim people are taking uh, Allah's might into their own hands when God said he revenges, he pays back alone. You got these KKK